Hi guys, Dave here. This is Wolf in the Wilds. This is my buddy Greg. We're throwing together a bit of a campsite. We might possibly be on private property. We don't exactly have permission, but there's no trespassing signs, there's no fences. I just sort of wandered into the woods, hiked around, found this spot, liked it. I'm at least gonna give it a try. And yeah, I guess we'll see. So for starters, we got our fire pit for cooking and sort of, outside campfire at night. So let's have a look at that first, because some of you might not know how to build a really effective fire pit, and then we'll move on from there. Now, as you could probably see, I dug a hole down, and then I lined that hole with small stones. The stones get bigger as you go up until the fire pit is ringed in large stones. Now the reason I did that is because this is going to radiate heat upward a whole lot better, and it's going to keep moisture out of my fuel a whole lot better, making for a much more effective cooking fire, which means you're going to use less fuel in the long run, and you will not deplete your area quite as quickly. And you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again, in theory. So now that the fire pit's built, I am going to build a chair and my cooking quadrupod. I don't know about that Dave guy, but he's obviously not sawing with a full blade. You know what I mean? You guys are not going to believe this. Not too far out my campsite, in a thicket of hard stuff to get through, are puffball mushrooms. Now these are last year's. There's a big one over there. There's 3 of them right around me. There's a little one right here. There's smaller ones around. And what that means is that some point, say mid to late summer, I think, we're going to have puffball mushrooms around here. And that is going to be delicious, along with some wild caught meat or some steak or fish or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely last year's. But that is a really good thing. I'm so excited now. So I'm making a quad pod, a 4-legged tripod, so that I can use it to cook over the campfire. It doesn't really have to be load bearing, and it is going to be out here. I'm going to leave it here because I'm going to camp here. So I'm going to go ahead and use some number 36 tarred bank line. This is the ultimate bushcrafter's cord. When you tie a knot, it will basically stay. It is weather and rot resistant because of the tar coating over the bank line, making it the ideal kind of thing to use when you're leaving it out in the elements. Tripod's up. Nothing fancy, it doesn't have to be weight bearing. Now, a lot of the time you'll have some guys doing their channel, and they will very correctly tell you, do not cook over like an open fire. Cook after the fire burns down to coals. And that is correct. Generally. But if it's particularly cold out, like it does get in Canada in the wintertime and whatnot, and if you're the kind of person that likes to go out regardless, like I am, sometimes you don't want to let the fire die down because that's your only source of heat. So I raise my grill up. I have a small fire, I'm near the fire, I'm keeping warm, but my grill is suspended right here, hence the 4. I got 4 corners of the grill, I got 4 pieces of wood to tie it off to. Pretty simple. Now also, if we were in an area of like a lot of spruce or like certain kinds of pine or whatever, I could sort of hang spruce, pine, whatever off of here and make like a smoker. So I can, you know, hang fish or whatever from up here and just let everything smoke for as long as the fire's even marginally going. I also could, if, you know, I had a lot of bank line and a lot of free time, I could, on 1 or 2 sides, just sort of tie logs kind of thing to make it almost like a fire reflector windbreak. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with a setup like this. Sky's the limit. And I mean, if you had, say, like a shelter, like right out in front here, and 3 areas just sort of wind guarded off, and then, you know, like leaves or whatever piled up, you could sort of use this to heat your shelter and be in your shelter and still kind of cook and whatnot, and, you know, you'd be able to stay warmer. So you could do all kinds of stuff. Your imagination really is the only thing stopping you. Before actually lighting your fire, it is always a good idea to have everything ready that you're going to need to establish your fire. That's not even dead. I thought it was. That means what you're going to light your fire with, and then your first, second, and third stage fuel, and then generally, just for the convenience of it, 30 minutes to an hour worth of actual full-size fuel directly in camp is always a good idea. I left my fire kit over there. Okay, so I've got my bundle of first stage. So I get my tinder, my fire starter, whatever it is I'm going to start the fire with, I put that on. When they really catch on and get going, I go to slightly larger, and then even larger. And from there, regular, just full-size fuel. A lot of people like to split their wood just to help it along. It's not always necessary. I guess a lot of the time they might do that so they can get their coal bed faster, which definitely, yeah, it does work a lot quicker. But all in all, I'm not really all that worried about it. I'm not going to be splitting wood today, so I'm just about ready. I just need to prep a little bit more, and then I'm ready to get my fire going. I think I am going to use, I think I'm going to try one of these striker fires. They did okay when I sort of played around with them a little bit, but they've been in here for quite a while. And I haven't used, there is the striker. And over here. And let's see if they're still good after sitting in there for about 1.5 years. Well, not bad. I gotta get a smaller pencil sharpener for in here. I think this thing's kind of annoying. Nope. Now, a lot of people like to do things all neat and tidy and make little teepees and little fire cottages and just the most elaborate fire lays that it's just so unnecessary. They basically say that fire needs three things to happen: heat, fuel, and oxygen, and you know, okay, fine. But when you have at least a little bit of fire, fire likes two things. Fire likes friends and chaos. All these little sticks in a chaotic mess, that's all you need. You don't need anything super fancy and okay, that sounds like it's gonna blow up. I don't know if you can hear that on camera, but that's crazy. It's almost like a firework. Okay. So, after like a year and a half, almost 2 years, strike a fire for the win. Not bad. So there you are, friends and chaos. So I'm just going to leave that, and when the fire starts to get over the existing fuel, I'll add the next size up. Simple as that. That's a fire. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my my grill suspended on some picture hanging wire that I picked up at Walmart. Makes a pretty good strong cordage. It's pretty cheap, and I mean, obviously, you know, like flame proof and whatever. My grill's not going to dump into the fire with all my food. I don't know if it could be used as snare wire or not. I don't know if it's malleable enough, but it is, you know, possibly it could be. And my fire is coming along just fine. I'm on to my full-size fuel now, and yeah, I think I'm about ready. Well, maybe not. I might have to lower the grill down. Well, we'll see what happens when this larger fuel gets going. So basically, when you're cooking, doing stuff like this, what you want to be able to do is put your hand over. If you can hold your hand there for longer than 5 seconds and it doesn't, you know, start to get kind of uncomfortably hot, then it's not hot enough. You want a level where in about 5 seconds you got to pull your hand away because it starts to get uncomfortable. So that's how you cook over a fire. What do we got today? Smoldering applewood spice, yum yum. Montreal steak spice, necessity. Mushrooms, cremini, and an onion, a red onion, and some steak medallions, which are top blade. So, not the best steaks in the world, and I much preferred to actually have like a nice, big, really good steak. Problem is, there's really nothing in the grocery store because of this whole COVID-19 thing. So, gotta do what we gotta do. Little steak medallions it is. Now these really shouldn't take very long to cook at all, by the size of them.
Especially how you take your steak.
Pass it through a warm room. That's how you make a steak.
Take the cow into the kitchen and let it stare at the tear.
Some smoldering applewood. And of course, steak spice from Montreal. Piece de la Resistance, or however you're pronouncing that. Alright. So we're going to give that a couple of minutes. We're going to flip them over and we're going to do the same thing. And hopefully by then, everything's ready. And dinner is done. Bon appetit, guys. Here's the problem. Cooked enough? Oh yeah. Cooked a lot quicker on that side. Mine's still mostly raw, which is the way I like it. It is such an awesome, beautiful day out here, and it is such a shame that it gets just way too cold at night for me to want to sleep out here, at least with the gear that I have. Because it is just so nice out here. I mean, other than some kids rocking by on some dirt bikes a little while ago, it's actually pretty peaceful out here too. Red-tailed hawks and birds and just kind of whatever. It's just so nice. And honestly, I can say this in I'm sure everybody will agree. There's nothing better than a meal cooked over an open campfire. You just can't beat that, especially on such a nice day like today. This is awesome. Food was good. It was nice being out in the woods on such a nice day. It's we got maybe 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours of sunlight left. But we can't stay out here all day. I did want to show you something though. The axe that my brother made me, I didn't have a guard for it. And I went out and got just like some cheapo. It was way too big. It was a real pain. So I made one out of paracord and Gorilla Tape. I cut like a piece of plastic and I kind of molded it around the blade and, you know, kind of got somewhat of the curve, and then I just kept wrapping Gorilla Tape around it and made the strap, and then I, you know, just threw some paracord onto it to there, and then that wraps around, and then the paracord goes around once, twice, and then under and through. Doesn't want to cooperate, of course, because I'm on camera. nice and tight, and then just under again. Pull her nice and tight, a little bit of friction there just to, and yeah, it does the job. So, axe guard at a Gorilla Tape. Feeling, I don't know, a little bit crafty today, I guess. Well, after searching for nearly an hour for my Silky Gomboy, I found it tucked in the back of my pack. I looked 3 times. There's a fold back in there. I don't know. It's a new pack. What can I say? I think we're ready to get out of here. We got, hour and a half, 2 hours worth of sun left, and I forgot to bring coffee. I brought everything else but the coffee grounds. So, yeah, caffeine is calling. We're getting out of here. Thanks for coming along, guys. We'll see you in the next video.